What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with the brand new dinosaur that has come to Ark, the Dino. Now, we ain't going to pronounce the full name because I butcher the crap out of it, but we're going to just call it the Dino. Now, the Dino is a pretty cool dino. He's the newest addition to Ark with the Valguero map, which we are currently on as well, and you can see it is a rather beautiful map. Now, guys, today we'll be covering the Dino's abilities and just how powerful he is and whatnot. So guys, we've had a little bit of a play around with him. We've determined what his abilities are and stuff like that, and what exactly he can do. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Now, this guy has pretty much one primary attack. Now you can see that we are currently doing it. It's this attack right here, where he kind of just does like a bite slash attack, which is exactly what he does. Now you can also pull this attack off in the air, and apparently he can fell trees with it. So as well as that, he does have the ability to jump and obviously sprint. Now, one other really cool thing that I have noticed with the Dino is that he actually doesn't take fall damage. Now, because of the wings on his feathers, on his arms and his tail, he actually prevents himself from taking fall damage. So for example, we're going to climb right to the top of this cliff and we're going to jump off. Now you can see here, he doesn't glide, but he kind of just slows down his fall. So it prevents him from taking fall damage, which is really cool. It makes sense as well because he's got the feathers, so it would make sense for him to kind of glide. Now, as you guys saw, we do have the ability to also scale walls. Now, you can attack while on these walls using a bite attack, and this attack will be used on dinos when you mount them. But if you continuously press spacebar, you can actually scale this wall to the best of your ability. Now, aside from being able to actually control which direction he jumps, I haven't been able to figure that out, more or less so. It's kind of just whatever way he wants to go himself. So if you guys have had a go with it and you figured out how to actually control what direction he goes in, let me know because I'm still trying to figure it out. Now, as well as that, the Dino is pretty fun to run around on. He also hits pretty hard. So you can see here we've got a pack of raptors with us. We're just going to take these guys off. Now, we can get pulled off our mounts. Ooh, this is bad. We should probably activate creative mode before we die. Well, rip. Now, guys, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, the Dino saddle is also craftable at level 32, and it's a really simple saddle to craft. All you need is fiber, hide, and wood, which is great for those starting mounts as well, and he does look pretty damn good while doing it. Now, what we're going to showcase to you guys is his latching ability, I guess you could call it. Now, one thing that I've noticed is it does say in the dossier that he does bleeding damage, but from what I've seen, he does have the animation for bleeding damage, but he doesn't actually do bleeding damage. So, okay, we got pulled off again. This is wonderful. These raptors are literally the worst things ever. So you can see that he does do bleeding damage, but we do have damage numbers, show floating damage numbers on, and it doesn't actually show any extra damage coming in. So let's use this listro. You can see there's like the bleeding effect going on inside. Like you can see the blood coming out of him, but there's no damage numbers coming out of it. So I don't think the actual damage is carried on, because with like Fire Wyvern's breath and stuff like that, you actually see the damage numbers coming up when you use the fire breath, like when it degrades their health over time. So I don't know if his bleed thing does any extra damage or if it's just an animation effect. Now, guys, the real cool thing about the Dino is, hold on one sec, we're just going to pump up some stamina. Boom. Is that he can latch onto larger dinos. So you can see here, this Bronto is just casually walking along, and there's a little sort of icon on him. If that icon appears, that pretty much indicates where you'll jump onto the Dino and where you can start biting. Now, be wary, the only way to detach, well, I mean, is if you run out of stamina and if you manually detach yourself, which makes sense. But if he does run out of stamina, then you will detach. Now, one other really cool thing, we tested this with a Rex and it worked. I don't know if it'll work with the Bronto, is that while on their actual backs, you can't actually take damage. Now, as well as that, you can also select the exact spot where you want to go. So for example, you can see the Bronto is presenting us with 4 leg options. So we're going to jump on here and we're going to start tearing into the Bronto. Now, you can currently see here with the Bronto, we are taking, are we taking damage? I believe we are taking damage. Yeah, we're taking damage there. So we're taking 21 damage. But when we did it on the Rex, we'll show you guys as well, we actually weren't taking any damage from him trying to bite us. And once again, you guys can see the bleeding animation effect, but I don't see any damage numbers. So I'm not really too sure if it'll work. Now, one other thing that I did forget to mention is that you can also hold the spacebar button down. Doesn't really do anything, it just kind of prepares his jump. So I don't think it makes a difference in the long run. I have fiddled around with it quite a lot, and it doesn't look like it does much of a difference. But you can see here, you can also jump on medium-sized dinosaurs, such as the Allosaur. Do be careful though, because these guys can deal quite a lot of damage if you're not careful. And this guy's really low on health, so we're going to just kill him. So, like I was saying, with the Rexes, you can actually not take damage, from what I've seen anyway. You guys can currently see we don't have creative mode active, so we will be taking damage. There we go, we're going to spawn in a Rex, and we're going to jump on the back legs here. Now, from what I remember, we didn't actually take damage. Oh god, wrong button. Let's just do that for safety purposes. You can also jump off the Dino and let him just go to town on the Rex as well if you really want him to. So the Dino kind of has like a really cool amount of abilities. Where can you just come here, you silly thing? There we go. Now another really cool thing is that you can actually whistle him to attack targets. So what we're going to do, we're just going to come over here away from the Bronto. We're going to summon in another Rex. Actually, we'll wait for our stam to regen. There we go. Give ourselves a little bit more stamina. We're going to deactivate creative mode again, just so we can showcase to you. I'm 99% sure we weren't taking damage while we were on the Rex. Alright, there's the Rex. Let's jump on the leg here. We're going to bite him. Okay, so we are taking damage. They just don't really seem to care that we're running him. So it looks like you do take damage. I tested it previously on another Rex and we didn't take damage. So it looks like it might be very selective when they decide to take damage. But you can see that we can also latch onto the arms as well as the back legs. Now, another really cool thing is if you really wanted him to, you could actually get him to latch on himself. So you can see that we've just whistled attack this target and he should jump on and latch on. Are you going to do it? Of course he's not, because we're recording. So why would he do it while we're recording? While we're not recording, he decides to do it. There we go. So you can see that he's jumped on now. He's latched on, and he's just killed a level 15 Rex. So these guys are pretty powerful. Now, in terms of their sort of behavior stats, you can see they don't have anything in particular that sets them apart from anything else. They've got the standard ones, so there's no actual way to make them pounce on a dino when you whistle them to. But you'll know you'll be able to jump on them if they've got that little that Nash sort of signal, I think it is. I think it's called a Nash thing. So yeah, all right. So now that we've covered his abilities, let's go over his base stats. So this one here that we just spawned in was a 150, but we're going to spawn in a level 1 right here, just so you guys can see their base level. And I got to say, the colors on these guys look really cool. When the Ark devs do something right, they do it really good. But when they don't, they can stuff up royally. All right. So base stats, he's only got 200 health, 150 stamina, 140 weight, and 125 melee damage. Now, obviously, that's not the greatest. It's very on par with Raptors. However, it's what you'd expect, because these guys are part of the Raptor family, and they are only level 1. You're not going to be going around taming up level 1 Dinos, so you know you'll be aiming for those higher leveled ones. Now, just for comparison here, we've got a Raptor, 201 health, 200.1, 150 stamina, 140 weight, 125.8 melee damage. So I think they have the exact same stats. Now, in terms of melee damage, I think the Dino is actually stronger than the Raptor. But there is one thing that I have forgotten to mention, and that is that the Dinos get the Alpha buff. So you can currently see here, this big boy, he is glowing like crazy. So he actually has the Alpha buff. Now, this Alpha buff is very similar to the Raptors in that it boosts the amount of damage they were doing. So if you guys remember correctly, this big boy here was doing about 95 damage when he attacked. Now if we go over and attack something, you can see that 191. You can see just how much the extra damage does. Now, one thing we are actually going to test is to see if his Nash ability will do bleeding effects now. So you can see here, we're latched onto his neck. We're doing 191 damage. I'm not seeing any bleeding effects, but you can see the rest of the pack is also dealing a crap ton of damage. And you can see that this Rex doesn't know who to attack, and we are just decimating him into next week. You can see that we're pulling chunks off of him. I don't see a bleeding effect happening, so I don't think it... I don't know, it's very weird. But you can see here, we are just shredding this 135 Rex apart with 2 Dinos. So guys, these guys are definitely powerful. I would definitely get your hands on some of these guys. But the more Dinos you have in your pack, the stronger the pack actually is. So you can see here, we've got 4 of them now. There we go. We just absolutely decimated that Rex. And you can see in the top right-hand corner, pack leader, So this big boy will gain extra stats. He'll gain extra damage reduction as well as extra melee damage. Holy crap, the colors on these guys look sick. I cannot wait to get into mutations for these guys. So one more thing we're going to do, we're going to test the Rex one last time. Just double check. There we go. So you can see there we're dealing 191 damage, which is the maximum amount of damage that we were doing. And that is from the alpha buff. If we were to kill all these guys, you'll see that we're only doing 95 damage. I hate to kill you guys, but damn, you are one pretty little bastard. All right, let's kill you. Yeah, go nuts, guys. You're going to be dead too, so enjoy your last meal. And you're dead. Alrighty. So, just for a reiteration, let's go over here. And boom. Okay, 143. You can see there that it is an extra 50 points of damage from the pack buff. Still no bleeding effect, so I'm a bit confused about that. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up this video today. So let me know what you guys thought of it down below in the comments. Okay, so 95 is actually his base damage, which is weird because it was popping up for 141. Alright. So you can see that the pack buff and, oh, it's mate boosted as well. That's what it would have been. Significantly increases the amount of damage they do by about 100 points. So that's pretty nice. Mind you, this guy doesn't have any extra points in melee damage, so he's got pretty subpar melee damage. So guys, like I was saying, we are going to wrap up the video here. Let me know what you thought of the video down below. Let me know whether or not you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below for more. But other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.